Everyone, we're back with a new episode of A Crumbling Foundation. Thank you all for being here at Tales from the Table Studios. We're super excited to be able to bring this episode to you tonight. But before we do, I have a bunch of stuff I have to go through. At this point, you probably know the drill. If you don't, well, you're gonna learn. Hi people. So first, we have a Discord. If you want to be in touch with us, keep up to date on announcements, updates, new show announcements, casting calls, or more, go check out our Discord. The link should be below. On top of which is really exciting, there's some amazing people there that you can hang out with. We're building a great community full of fantastic creators, wonderful minds, and just good people. We have a lot of very random, very amazing conversations. We're working on getting some community events off the ground. So that's the place for that. So come check us out. Second, if you like what we do here, great. That means we're doing something right. But if you like what we do here, we there are a couple ways to support us. Obviously, you can subscribe, which is cool. If you're looking for an alternative that won't also support Amazon, which is totally reasonable, we have a Ko-Fi. You can find the link to that down below as well. Over on there, we have membership tiers, which offer some really cool stuff, from naming rights for NPCs and locations to things like access to our backstage behind the scenes shows, which we film once a month for every single series that we have, where we sit down together and talk about what's been going on, how everyone's feeling, what brought people to the decisions they've made, what they're looking forward to, and more. It's a really cool look behind the scenes, where you'll get to see a little bit more out of the thought process behind all of these amazing people who are also in our Discord, so you can come say hi to them. We also release some really cool stuff. We've got a couple maps out now. We have one module for Kids on Bikes, which is themed after Five Nights at Freddy's. We're going to have some more stuff coming up soon. We'll be talking about that in a bit. We also have a YouTube. All of our stuff is archived on YouTube. So if you don't find a VOD here, or you're interested in checking out some of our older one-shots or getting caught up on stuff, you can do that over on YouTube. Our episodes for Crumbling Foundation will be up on there by the end of the week. We had a little bit of technical issues, but we've gotten all that sorted out, and we'll have those up by Friday. I promise. Next, and this is the thing I'm most excited about besides our amazing episode tonight, obviously, we announced our Days of Tales 2, Eclectic Boogaloo, as I am calling it. We're going to be raising money for NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, March 24th through the 26th. But right now, we have casting calls open. If you're interested in being involved, we're going to have games, actual plays, panels, giveaways, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. Please hang out, check out. Our chat should have the form link up now. I'm pretty sure. Yep, there it is. Thanks, Banana. So, sign up. Let us know. We're happy to have you along, and we're looking to, have fun for great cause. Lastly, A Crumbling Foundation is a horror game at its core. And though we do have a lot of lighthearted, earnest moments, there is a lot of things that go a little bit darker. So, as a content warning, A Crumbling Foundation includes things like atmospheric horror, body modification, body horror, self-mutilation, gaslighting, and more. If at any point you find yourself uncomfortable, please step away. Don't hesitate to do so. There'll be another episode next week. Trigger warnings and others will always be included in the descriptions on YouTube if you want to check things out afterwards. That way you'll know what you can skip or move through. And if this show is not for you, that's okay. We've got a bunch of other content that we're happy to have you along for. Never feel like you have to be here, have to watch anything specifically. If it makes you uncomfortable, your health comes first, and that is so important. Okay, and I think I've gone over everything I need to go over for now. So I'm going to pass things around so our amazing cast can introduce themselves, remind you who they are, where you can find them, who they're playing tonight, and why they're amazing. And as agreed upon off screen, we're going to start tonight with JD. I pointed this way, but I should have pointed this way, which is for me, but actually on the Twitch thing, I was right. Anyway, JD.
Thank you, Lion. I'm JD. Tonight I am playing Dr. Zachary Ryan, who is not in the best of situations where we last left him. So we're going to see how tonight goes. You can also find me with Live from the Apocalypse. I am in Class Reunion, our D&D homebrew game, which is every other Tuesday, and that just happens to be tomorrow. And then in Academy H, our Masks actual play podcast that we record every other Sunday, which lo and behold will be this upcoming Sunday. So there are some exciting things going on this week. And then I will also be had the honor to be with Jack in season 4 of RPGs Uncovered. Um, and that has been a time, and we will be recording our next episode this coming Saturday. So it'll be a full, amazing week. And I think that is it for me for now. For some things I can't announce quite yet, but maybe next time. Who knows?
All the more reason to come back. Next, Jack.
Yes, hello everybody, that is me. You may know me from my own channel, twitch.tv/RPGs Uncovered, and the associated YouTube and Twitter and social media all over the place. Just look for RPGs Uncovered, I should be there. Yeah, what do I have coming up? First of all, I will be playing Agent Hevard Hart tonight, as I always do, and everything is perfectly fine. We're just hanging out in a nice dream sequence bar with my lovely sister. But as for what I have going on for the rest of the week, I'm excited to announce another episode of my Whip Workshop creator interview series this Wednesday. That is going to be at 7 p.m. EST on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about the Vault RPG system that is currently kickstarting. It's another cyberpunk sci-fantasy system, very similar, at least in aesthetic, to Shadowrun, and anyone who's been hanging around with me knows how much I love Shadowrun, so I'm really excited to talk to them about that. So we got that coming up on Wednesday. JD has already talked about Cyber Rats a bit. We will be on for episode 4 this Saturday at 4:30 p.m. EST. All of the previous episodes are already up on YouTube, so you can go get caught up. It is a stressful, action-packed, super cinematic time, and always great fun. I think that's all I can talk about at the moment, but as everybody says, so much more stuff coming down the pipeline. So come hang out on Twitter, Discord, here, and I'll let you know. Who's next? Tap, take it away.
Hello, I am Tao Woodblaze. You can find me on the social medias under the Games Rest. And tonight I will be playing the heroic Jackson Kennedy, who is absolutely fine with weird boats. Stuff going on at the moment. You can check out my YouTube channel, which is the Gamers Rest, where I play video games. And this morning or this evening, depending on what time scale you are, it'll be the first episode of a new playthrough of Erica, which is an interactive horror style story, which I definitely didn't get upset about at all. You can also check out my Ko-fi, which is Tower Blaze, and you'll find some of the stuff I do as a TTRPG designer, including one of the things I've been working on at the moment, which is a very straightforward, streamlined framework for creating your own TTRPGs. And that's me.
Yeah. The Eye.
Hello, I am the Eye. As I said in chat, health issue has occurred, of which the gods of cutlery and eating implements decided to take their pound of flesh. So with that sacrifice in hand, literally, we are going to be playing Lieutenant Liam MacCern, the Scottish curmudgeon, who is brought along for this trip to absolutely hate everything that's ever happening, and not trying to convince absolutely everybody in his party that all of this needs to end and stop. And that's what we will be doing today. Unlike all of these fine folks that have a internet presence, I am only found here upon the dealings and wheelings of the lion himself. And that's all.
And Zoe.
Hi, I'm Zoe, or Zoe Trooper. You can find me here on Tales from the Table Studios. You can also find me on Hulled Haven Studios, who run a Scion game on Fridays right now. And in the future, you will find me at Component Cast. There's a long-standing D&D game there, so the Arendelle Chronicles. Go watch that. I'd have a good time.
All right. With that, let's get to tonight's episode. When we last left off, our group, after a mixed reaction to a sentient boat, taking them to the strange island. Yes, we love Mr. Boat. Well, most of us love Mr. Boat. After taking them to this strange, curious island, they could not be offered too much information. Found themselves immediately in danger. Perhaps the nature of the island, or perhaps because Captain Kennedy deemed it necessary to threaten the safety of Mr. Boat. But either way, as he turned around, he found his allies stuck in this strange silverish sand with fleshy tendrils having run their way up and around their legs, latched onto them, each experiencing something different. And as we return to tonight's episode, I think we will begin with the camera sort of pulling in back to Captain Kennedy and Lieutenant MacCern, having both realized that their friends are stuck and clearly checked out, and some strange semi-humanoid movements in the strange metallic trees that comprise the jungle area beyond this. What would the two of you like to do?
Both of us noticed the human movements in the trees.
Correct, yes.
Okay. Liam is going to pull out his Sacco Finlight, which is his sniper rifle.
Sure.
Aim it in that general direction and post himself between the tree line and the rest of his party and yell out, well, not yell, but basically get into a kneeling position and gun at ready and say, Kennedy, check them out. I'll keep watch.
Yeah, this is going as well as I expected. Okay, so is there any way to get to my comrades without touching the silvery sand and exposing myself to it?
Unfortunately not. No, the entirety of the beach is covered in this.
God's sake. In that case, would I be able to take off the kind of hoodie jacket that I'm wearing and kind of lay it down onto the sand and step onto that and see if I can avoid being
Absolutely you can.
Eaten by the sand?
Yeah, absolutely you can do that. Okay. So you pull it off and you just kind of like throw it down. Are you gonna I assume you're not too far from them. You all did come on Mr. Boat together. So you can lay it out flat and have it be about enough distance for you to get to one of your companions. Who is it that you would like to try and get?
Oh, okay. That's a really you're making me choose between my children. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get Hart first. And then there is reasoning behind this.
It's because clearly Hart is your favorite of the children.
Absolutely.
Because we want to prove to him how screwed we are.
No, I'm thinking that, if something goes wrong, out of the three of them, he's the most expendable. No, that's not it at all, honestly.
Wonderful. All right, and you are going to get some help because Zoe has cashed in a couple of Tails points in order to grant you advantage. So you'll get to roll.
Amazing.
I believe it was one extra of your highest die, right? That's how we've been doing it. So what you're going to be doing is, initially, I was actually going to just use your reaction defense, but instead, what I'll do is I'm going to allow you to take two of your highest dex dice, roll those, and add those numbers to your reaction defense.
Okay.
Oh.
2 of my highest dice. Well, my highest dice is a D12.
Excellent. That's good. So roll 2 D12s. Okay. Wonderful. We're all about making up rules on the spot here.
And my awareness reaction. Okay, so I rolled on my D12s. I rolled 14.
So don't add those to your awareness reaction.
Okay.
Add those to your reaction defense.
Reaction defense. Okay.
Yeah, if you look down where your HP is, it should be in that same square.
Got it. Hang on. Reaction defense. Hang on. Oh yeah. Okay. So the 14. So 19.
Nice, awesome, and the eye is just burning through points, making sure everyone has the same advantage here, which will be good, I'm sure. So you said that came out to how much in total? 19.
19. Yep.
All right, give me one moment. How's this? Oh my goodness! Wow, that's funny. Okay. So
okay. Funny for you or funny for me?
just objectively funny.
Oh, okay, cool.
So you lay out the hoodie and you go, I assume, moving as quickly as you can towards him.
Yep.
And as you do, you notice little bits of shifting of the material ahead of you, and you hear the ripping of the fabric as one of these fleshy tendrils shoots its way upwards, trying to lash around you, but you avoid it easily enough. I'm also, just based on the difference in the two numbers, going to say that you are able to, if you would like, to like sort of stomp it out and crush it.
Yes, please.
There's this like wet squelching, squishing sound as you do. And then you feel the sand beneath your feet tremble, like it shakes for a moment. And then the writhing seems to stop.
Okay.
You make your way over to Agent Hart.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it that you would like to do?
So, what I would like to do, I'm going to grab my backpack, my gloves, my a face mask, and my goggles. I'm just going to quickly kind of don them, and then I'm going to get a scalpel.
Ooh.
And then what I'm going to do is very gently just make an incision, because I don't know what will happen if I could just cut them all off, but I don't know what's going to happen. It might, have acid inside it or something ridiculous like that. You just don't know. So I'm just going to
been there. I understand.
Yeah. So I'm just going to make an incision just to make sure it doesn't kind of suddenly,
Now, that would be some karmic justice, wouldn't it, Lion?
Yes, it would. Okay, so you're not like cutting it off either, right? You're just seeing what will happen if you damage it.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So you lean down, and as you bring the scalpel to it, you notice that though it is sort of like red pinkish in tone, it is slightly translucent. Inside of it, you see floating little like specks, almost like globules of inky blackness floating through what seems like an otherwise pretty like clear stream of some kind of. I will allow you to decide if you still want to do that or not.
Yeah. No, I will.
Okay, so I'm not gonna have you roll anything for this. You press the scalpel to it, and it's like a knife through butter. It's that exact texture, the way it just has the barest of resistance and then gives immediate. The blade sort of sinks into it, and as it does, that inky blackness and this clear liquid starts to sort of pour out over the head of the scalpel. At which point we're going to shift for a moment. Hev, when we last left you had found yourself in a familiar bar, surrounded by a number of people who didn't particularly call any of your interest. However, the voice behind you did. But when you looked, what you saw was, well, at least somewhat your sister. Some things had changed, hadn't they? It was not the sight you were used to. And as you sit there looking back at her, there's a moment of silence where you actively notice that the chatter in the bar seems to have stopped. And then the world seems to flicker around you for a moment. And then Ronnie, well, fleshy bits of her begin to bubble, droop, almost as though sloughing off from the metallic bits. What would you like to
I have some sort of drink in front of me.
do? Absolutely.
Is this a normal drink or is it just normal drink? Is this a normal creepy dreamscape drink or is it like, do I remember you saying it was this black goo?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Probably don't want to drink that. Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna spin on my bar stool and so my sister's melting. That's great. I want to look around and I want to just focus on my perceptions. You know, when you're trying to figure out if you're in a dream, what's reality, what's real. I want to sniff for smells. I want to, see if I want to slide my hand across the bar and see where it's wet and sticky and whatnot.
I like that. Okay. Why don't you roll me a perception? Let's go with identify tastes and smells. And because I believe you were given advantage by the eye, you will add two of your highest dice. One of your highest dice to the roll. And then you will take.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don't waste my gift, okay?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna need it. Okay, so I get my normal dice and an extra highest, so that is gonna be 2d8. That's these guys, and 2d10. That's these guys. I'm not adding anything to this, so I'll be able to. When I'm rolling something that I have a 0 modifier in, I get to. Do I add that to the roll? I don't think I add it to the roll. I think I can add a d8 afterwards.
So
to
it
bump
is
that
a
proficiency up.
knowledge skill, correct? So with a
Yes.
knowledge, what I will allow you to do, because I believe this is how we did it last time, you can roll the d8 first and add that, and then make your roll. So you
Awesome.
will have it for the roll. I know ideally it's because the experience makes you better, but I'm all about giving y'all the best opportunities that you can, especially when we're playing a game like this, which can be unforgiving.
Okay, that's an exploding d8. I like
Ooh.
that. I need another d10. Then here we go. Okay, that is a 17.5.
Wow. Okay. So what I will say is, okay. So what you notice here is actually not the presence of anything jarring, but the absence of it.
Mm-hmm.
When everything went silent, everything went silent. And that's something that you haven't had for quite some time, have you? But there was no crackling of flame deep in the barest reaches of your hearing. As you take a smell, a deep pull in, you don't smell the oil or the brimstone or any of the sulfur that you've had sort of dancing at the edge of your senses since your previous encounter. That all seems to be very clearly missing.
Okay. So this is almost sensory deprivation levels of non-perception going on here.
Correct.
Okay. I think I'm just going to lean back up against the bar, throw one leg over the other, and I'm just going to start whistling. He has the whole world in his hands.
Wonderful. Give me a moment. Excellent. Love it. Okay. Trademark heaven. I'm so happy with it. So, Jackson, you have this sort of strange liquid with the bits of what seem to be an oil of some kind pouring out, and as they do and they fall, they sort of reabsorb into the sand very quickly. Little splashes of it seem to fall on your like laid out hoodie, and as they do, it seems to soak into the fabric. If you look down, you notice that the bits that it does soak into seem to harden. There's very little visual change to them or the material from what you can tell, but they're rigid now, stiff, where cloth is not usually. Other than that, there doesn't seem to be any response besides the continued trembling of the sands below you.
Does it the black liquid does it resemble the black liquid we saw in our first adventure because I kind of analyzed that quite closely.
Yes, you did. It does actually. It seems exactly like that.
Yeah. Okay. So can I, from where Hev is, can I see if there's been any kind of reaction to me kind of cutting through one of the tentacles that was attached to him?
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be any reaction from Hev.
Okay.
Hev is standing there. You can tell that his eyes are sort of rolled back into his head. His lids are flickering just a bit. You notice, sort of looking him over, that some of his muscles, though it seems random, one of his fingers, you can kind of see from his forearm, even under like the suit, that it's not a suit actually. I'm sorry, right? You're wearing like tropical, yeah.
So I'm in my my James Bond beachwear.
Perfect. Yeah, you can see like one of the muscles in his forearm just twitching, the same way his sort of eyelids seem to be. One of his pectorals, a finger keeps curling up and down. His feet are firmly planted though. Anything from the knee down seems completely just frozen, even as the rest of him twitches.
Okay. So what I'm going to do then is, can I work out approximately, with these tentacles kind of going into the sand, where the creature would be under the sand?
Ooh, interesting. I will allow you to roll me a perception. Perception tracking.
Tracking. Okay. Yeah, nice. So my perception. So that's 3, 1, 2, 3, and so that's an exploding D8.
Nice.
So 16 and tracking. That is 18.8.
Ooh, very nice. Okay, so you kind of follow these tendrils, and there are a couple of them that are lashed around him that seem to be jutting out. But you notice as they disappear beneath the sand, there are small grooves that seem to linger at the topmost parts of the sand, and it seems that it's understandable to assume that those would have been caused by movement of whatever it is that is doing this, which gives you a pretty good idea. Unfortunate. That idea leads you to a very, very either this thing is impossibly large, or there are a lot of them, because these grooves are everywhere. And then you see the sand begin to tremble again.
Okay.
In the meantime, Lieutenant MacCern, what are you doing?
Lieutenant MacCern right now is still scanning the tree line. How far is the tree line from their current position?
I'd say it's probably about 50 or 60 feet.
Okay. Where do I still see movement, or did I see movement and it stopped?
Why don't you roll me a perception something? We're gonna call that. You know what? I'll allow you to roll me a perception with your sniper rifle skill.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So perception. Okay. It's not it. That's it. Okay. Actually, my awareness is usually what you roll with it.
Yes, if that's higher, you
Jack?
can absolutely roll it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's higher. So
Yeah, not a problem. My assumption was bang bang shoot a guy, probably better.
Yeah, I wish.
But
Haven't had a lot of use for it yet.
yeah. If you want, I could change that.
I'm waiting.
Oh, good.
15.9.
Okay. So, looking through the the scope of your rifle out into the tree line, you can catch the faintest bit of movement. However, the longer that you spend looking through this tree line, the harder it becomes for you to focus on what's ahead of you. The fractal patterns of these trees and the branches seem to almost inherently draw your attention to them. It becomes about 45 seconds, a minute in, it is impossible for you to focus on any one particular spot for too long.
Okay.
However, you do see one thing that manages to pull your attention back for the barest of seconds. It is this large, human-esque blob of what looks like writhing flesh intertwined within itself. Tendrils of what look like muscle and sinew kind of pulling themselves into the basic shape of a person.
All right. So what I would do immediately is I would put my eyes down to the tree line point, so I'm not staring into the trees of where it is. So as soon as it comes out of the trees, if it does, I won't have my attention drawn to the trees. But Liam calls out, "Contact!" As soon as he sees it, we need to move right now.
Agreed. There is a lot of things under this sand. Hey, Lieutenant, you ever seen that old film Tremors?
No, I haven't actually. What are you talking about? Liam's like trying to like scan the tree line without looking at the trees, and but like his like eyes like scanning back to be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And I will from our bag, I'd like to grab one of the packs of, did we say it was Semtex that we brought with us?
C4.
C4, yep.
We could attach C4 to the bottom of their feet and hope that they just lose their legs.
Well, I'm kind of thinking, so this is my thought process, is that I'm going to try and throw the C4 behind where they kind of all are, and hopefully the explosion will scare whatever's there off, and we can make a run for it.
I could also just shoot it.
Yeah. Now the problem is I don't know what's under there. I couldn't tell you if it's just one thing. That's not going to help.
Oh, real quick, do I notice
a million?
The thing that is moving in the tree line, is it like, do I notice its tendrils are like going into the ground?
Not from what you could tell, no.
Okay.
Also, we're gonna take half a moment. We have a hydrate check. Thanks, Wilder. Hail hydrate.
Glug, glug, glug.
I think if we just run, we're going to get caught by this thing.
All right. So what's your idea now?
Oh, I'm going to scare the crap out of it by setting off a loud explosion.
All right. Liam's gonna reach into the bag next to him and toss back a pack of C4 and a
Yep.
detonator with it.
Okay. I will prime it, and I will take the time to aim it as far away from any of the group as possible.
We can make it very clear that this is something
Yeah,
you are familiar with.
Yeah,
You know exactly how far away it needs to be to not.
Yeah,
hurt them.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Okay, so I will, and once so I'm going to get ready to. I'll say to Lieutenant, I'll say, once it goes off, we need to grab our comrades and get to safe ground. You ready?
Liam is going to stand up in battle position, so the rifle is still pointed outwards but backing up until he's next to Zura. And Liam's gonna go, well, we can only grab 2 of them. I don't know what state they're going to be in once you blow whatever you're blowing up.
Guess we'll find out. And at that point, I will throw my C4.
Yeah, your C4 goes sailing through the air. And as it does, our camera pans back a bit, and we find ourselves in a theater again. And as the C4 continues to arc, it goes directly out of Zero. You have found yourself in this theater, watching yourself. Ad infinitum. However, you're not alone. Your friend is here too, sitting comfortably in one of the seats in this theater, in fact, the only seat that is occupied. You've already realized that when you move, all of you move. There is a moment where you can see in one of the smaller of these fractal screens laid upon one another, movement arcing across the top of it. You recognize that it's different from the rest. And then you hear the door to the back of the theater open. Footsteps against the tile.
In the split second where I see this object arcing, can I tell what it is at all?
I'm going to ask you to roll me an awareness perception,
Okay.
because it is fairly small.
Okay. Awareness perception. Da-da-da-da.
Or I have that backwards. Perception awareness.
So that is a bunch of dice. Oh my god, I got so many.
Yay! And I believe, since you haven't rolled yet, you also have advantage, so you will add one more of your highest die.
Okay. Okay. Oh, this is a nasty roll I just rolled.
Ooh.
18 plus. The heck is awareness on this sheet?
It should be in the
Oh, there it
third
is.
row under abilities.
19.7.
Yeah, you can easily make out that this is one of the pieces of C4 that was taken by your companions.
I'm just watching this and I'm go, oh my god.
And you
But-
hear through every one of the speakers in this theater echoing just the barest of a second off of each other.
I think to myself now, I don't like that. And I turn to see whoever is coming in through the door.
So you turn and you find uncomfortably close, almost nose to nose with you, this older, fairly dark-skinned gentleman who is just about the exact height as yourself, with no hair that includes his head, his eyebrows, his face, just completely hairless, and his head is cocked slightly to the side with these bright blue eyes locked on yours. And he goes, I'm so sorry. Which one?
Which god? I suppose it doesn't matter.
Oh, no, it always matters.
Whichever one would help stop them from flinging C4 at every issue.
Is your loyalty so easily purchased?
No, I would not say that. And I kind of look over to my friend, and then I go back to him and I go, to whom am I addressing?
That depends on the day, dear. But, well, you were lucky enough to end up here with me. So, perhaps I can offer you a piece of advice. And then he looks back over your shoulder at your painted friend. He leans in even closer, kind of putting his face past yours, so his lips are close to your ear, and he goes, there are so many questions, but they only have one answer. You would do well to remember that.
I don't immediately respond to that. I'm just kind of like, so many questions, but only one answer. All right, I'll keep that in mind. In lieu of you not offering your name, I am Zura. I expect this place to explode any minute now, so it was a pleasure to meet you.
Oh, that's all right. There's so many more like it. I'll see you here again. And yeah, I'll even make you a deal. And then he begins to pat at the pockets of his, you only now really notice his incredibly, impeccably well-tailored suit. He reaches into the cream jacket and pulls out what looks like a normal movie ticket stub. And he goes, here, take them. When you do inevitably come back, maybe I'll be able to give you something worth.
There's some hesitation before I take this, and I go, have you ever heard the story of Rumpelstiltskin?
No.
I think it applies here, and I'll take the ticket.
Oh. Interesting. Perhaps I'll have to make a stop at the library. And then he turns, and we have a hard cut. And we shift over to Dr. Ryan. Trapped in these caves. Familiar, damp, wet, mildewy smell. The squishing and tearing sounds off in the shadows beyond you. Tell me how you're feeling, Dr. Ryan.
So I have an important question to ask first.
Certainly.
And if the answer is it's debatable, I may have opinions on this, but I felt it was important to clarify, given where Dr. Ryan is. Is he seeing this as I am back in something that happened in the past? Or is he experiencing this as this is happening to me for the first time in the present? Because that is potentially going to impact his reaction.
If I said it feels familiar, that offer enough of an answer?
I think so.
Yeah. I think there is a... Really, it depends on the level of panic that immediately being in the situation puts Dr. Ryan in. Do you feel he would still be in a place where he would be logical enough to recognize what this is and what it is clearly tied to, a reference to, or otherwise, or if it immediately elicits such a panic that all sense of logic goes out.
My thought is, initially at least, it is the latter. And I think with that, his immediate reaction after, gagging in response to the sights and smells is one of just automatic panic, where he moves towards the bodies on the floor and seems to be about to start. He might even just go down in the blood and try and start checking on them, despite the fact that there's clearly no way anyone could be alive.
So you get to one of these bodies, and as you said, there is no possible. There's very little of a face left. The chest has been ripped open and almost just completely inverted, ribs seeming like they've been stabbed back in instead of just cracked apart. And as you are looking over this, frantically looking for some semblance of life or hope, you hear snarling from deep cave, and a set of red eyes cut through the dark. They follow you. You can hear echoed around you deep, heavy, raspy breathing that seems in sync with the way that the eyes just fractionally shift up and down and up and down.
I think Dr. Ryan just freezes. No control over the reaction. His body just goes completely still, in shutdown mode, because he's terrified that whatever this thing is, if it's what did all of this to his friends, he's not going to be able to outrun it. He's definitely not going to be able to fight it. So he just goes as still as a statue and just stares at where those eyes are staring back at him.
In your stillness, I think you recognize something. You realize that the ground beneath your feet is not as solid as you would expect from a tunnel, a cave. It's perhaps not something your mind is focused on at the time, but you can feel beneath your feet as you freeze a bit of give. And then you hear that snarling sound again. And we cut back out to the C4, landing in the sand and erupting in a loud, brilliant explosion. Jackson, Liam, the sand is flung outwards as one would expect when an explosive is set off inside of it, but instead of scattering or falling, it freezes, lingering in the air in these outstretched patterns, fine metallic grains seemingly still connected, trickling downwards to the beach itself, creating more of these fractal patterns in the now semi-suspended sand. However, along with that, you hear what seems like far off, beyond the forest, jungle, woods, whatever you would call it, a shriek, loud and angry, and tremors again beneath the sand surrounding the group of you, and these tendrils wrapping their way around your field agent friends retract, pulling back into the sand, quickly, desperate. Have sitting there, humming, you feel a hand rest on your shoulder. The fingers lithe, the hand small, and then you hear a voice in your ear, the smell of what seems like a sickly sweetness following it. So many questions, but only, and then everything fades around you. Zura, as expected, this theater erupts in an explosion, shrapnel of wood and metal and fabric flying in every direction, except for exactly where you and this other individual stand. And everything as it collapses around you leaves you in this black void. And then everything fades to black. Dr. Ryan, you see a mist creeping out from the shadows. And as it begins to encircle you, the ground beneath your feet gives. You hear the crumbling sound of rocks collapsing. You see them falling towards you, and you plummet. And then the three of you open your eyes, standing once more here with Captain Kennedy and Lieutenant MacCern.
Oh, Zach 100% just drops.
Clutches at her chest. Are you all insane?
Okay, I will be screaming at them. Move, 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 move! Get off
gonna
this
grab
beach
Zach.
now!
Yeah, Liam runs back and grabs or assists in grabbing Zach. If Zura is on her feet and is comprehending, he's running to Dr. Ryan and grabbing one arm, and probably Hart's on the other arm, and they're just running to the tree line. Liam
Sure.
is going to keep his rifle up, aimed in the direction of the figure. Am I still seeing it?
Looking back up, you see a similar figure, although the winding, wrapping bits of meat and tissue seem to be pulling themselves apart, as though it is dissipating or.
I'm actually going to shoot.
Ooh, okay.
One-handed with a sniper rifle.
Yeah, that's
Incredible. Iconic.
That's a choice, and I'm very excited for it. Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. First, we have a hydrate check from Dell. Thank you, Dell.
Glug, glug, glug.
Okay. Love that. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have you roll me your sniper rifle dex as normal. However, does your gun have special rules about the ready aim fire?
Special rules? No.
Does it
just
doesn't have
has-
anything on
Has
it?
a ready 0, aim +4, and a hip -5. I'm thinking I'm at
Then
ready
you
position,
will-
but
with the rifle, I think I am going to say you are kind of hip firing.
okay.
So I'm gonna have you fire.
Yeah. Okay, so that's a D12 plus 2D10. Another D10. Oh, my D12 exploded.
Ooh.
That means a D20. That's a 16. 16 plus 12, 28 plus 2.5 is, or 2 is 30, minus 5, 25.
Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and roll up your damage?
So how does damage work again? Because we had that confusion last time.
Okay, so when it comes to damage, give me one moment. I'm gonna pull it up to make sure I break it down as I can. For damage, the way it works is you have your base damage, right?
Which is 2d8, right?
Okay, so you'll roll that, and then the X damage is multiplied by your projectile multiplier.
Ah, so I just got that up. Wait, projectile modifier. Where is that?
Should be projectile modifier is found in the same place where your reaction defense, your HP, and your move speed are. It's the last thing there, just above your cognitive resistance.
Of my cognitive. Oh, projectile mob times 2. So it's 2d8 base,
Mm-hmm.
which is 6,
Okay.
plus 3d8 times 2.
Yep.
Do exploding dice work for damage?
I do not believe so.
Okay, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 times 2 is 32 plus 6 is 38.
Okay.
This is my specialty, folks.
Just to confirm, what was your to hit roll? I just want to double check something.
What was it? 25?
Okay, that's what I thought it was. Okay, and what is your damage?
What I say? It's 32.
Okay, so we double that because it is
32.
a critical hit.
Oh,
Great. Yes. Yeah, great. Okay. So you fire off and this shot is loud. I assume it's not silent, correct?
No.
Okay. This
not
shot
yet.
Nice.
Soon,
You-
though. Soon.
You've just killed the prime minister of this island.
Yes. Good.
Straight out assassinated him.
So you fire off and it is a loud sound that seems to echo, and as it travels through the tree line, it seems that the sound is amplified. It's louder and louder as it goes. And then after a moment, there is a sound of something hitting the ground. And you shouldn't be able to hear it from where you are, but then you hear it again and again and again, amplified, louder each time. And then another shriek from far off.
We're just running toward the tree line now that anything is dead in our way.
Is anyone else running towards the tree line with Lieutenant MacCern?
Yeah, I imagine after the
Mhm.
initial shock of the explosion, I've got my head covered. I'm kind of down. I'm not paying attention. There's
I'm
this single
I'm-
shot. Was that a
I'm-
single shot?
It was a single shot. Yep.
Okay.
I'm
One
guiding
shot,
you.
one kill.
As I'm on one side of you, kind of guiding you to make sure you run the right way.
Okay. Oh my gosh, we're shooting. Why are we shooting?
Because things are trying to kill us. Come on.
Come on now.
Have?
I'm just on the other side of Zach from Liam, and I'm just making sure we get to wherever Liam thinks we need to be. And I will keep my comments to myself until then.
Is the does the sand end at the tree line or does it go into the tree line as well?
It seems to end at the tree line.
Okay, yeah, that's why. Okay, that's
yeah,
the
yeah,
reason
yeah,
why
yeah.
Liam's running
Yeah.
that way.
Yep, good choice. Good choice.
Dr. Ryan, are you moving with them? Are you...
Yeah, I don't think Zach, really has a choice at this point. There's one of them on either side, so he is letting himself be moved in that direction.
Sure. Yeah. So the three of you just sort of wake up to the sound of a gunshot going off and a thud and a shriek and the command to run. You run your way across the sand and you notice that almost immediately upon the gunshot ringing out, and more so after the shriek, the sand seems to have bent. Where sand traditionally has a bit of give as you walk through it, you now feel as you run towards this tree line as though you're walking across aluminum or linoleum tile. It is rigid. And you make it. You know you make it because the crunching of the sand falls away to small, well, it would be quiet normally, but small crunching and crackling of what seem like twigs or small plants or roots. But it's loud, and it gets louder as it moves further away from you through this forest, sound echoing off in every direction.
Liam is going to allow Hart to get the full weight and going to post up in front of the group, between the group and the downed individual, and whisper out, "Keep your eyes down. Do not look at the trees. Look downwards."
I'll take to the rear of the party and keep an eye out for anything that might be chasing us and coming off the beach with my handgun to hand. And cursing because I've lost my second favorite hoodie. It's the second adventure now where a piece of clothing I like has been destroyed.
I'm just going to lean Zach up against. These aren't normal trees.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Maybe don't. Maybe don't.
Yeah.
Oh, please,
I don't
please
make
do.
that bad of decisions. No, I'm just gonna keep Zach's weight on me, and I'm just gonna like lightly tap you on the cheek. Zach, you with us? Come on, snap two. Everything's fine, ish.
I mean, Zach is definitely hyperventilating by this point. I think initially you might think it's just like the, sudden adrenaline rush / exertion of running, but like you can now tell he is moving into like full panic mode.
Okay, so if we're past the sand, I'm actually going to like spin Zach around in front of me and take us down to one knee. I'm just gonna grab your face. Breathe. Zach, in, out, and just try to do that over and over. Maintain eye contact, make sure there's physical connection, and just help calm the breathing.
And as you do, and you hear echoing through these trees, out, 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 out.
Zura, for her part, just has her hands over her head still and is looking down as she is told, but starts like in her attempts at least to get on a grasp of the situation, she starts being a little know-it-all about it, and she's like, "There is a pressure point between the thumb and the index finger on the meat of the hand. Rubbing it will relieve nausea and some anxiety. So you can Dr. Zachary, you should rub your hand a little bit, see if that helps."
Help.
And I feel like Zach is very much like trying to focus both on Hev and Zura. And like each time you sort of think you're getting through to him, the echoing, you can just see like reactivates that fight flight response.
Can I have a dice pool. I think I'm also the only person that went and took this kind of thing, but it is caretaking / nurture. Can I try this?
Absolutely, you can.
Nice.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Int or charisma based? I forget.
It is charisma.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
Right.
Heck yeah.
Right. Let's
I have like
cash.
50 points in that. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, something exploded. Yay.
Ooh.
Oh my god, something exploded again.
Oh my goodness. Are you up to
Okay,
a
but
D20?
No, it went up to a D12 and the D12 level was a 3, but 18 plus I think 2.3, 20.3.
Okay. Dr. Ryan, what is your cognitive resistance?
15.3.
Okay. Do you feel like, with this being a number that is over your cognitive resistance, that this would be something that might help get through to you a bit?
Something to keep in mind though is I think Hart is doing the heavy lifting here, and I'm just kind of like panicking and giving out advice. So it's just good advice, and maybe Hart can actually take it and do something with it.
Backseat therapizing.
I think I'm curious to hear what Hev might do with what Zura just said before I answer that question.
Ooh, I like.
Sorry, what did Zura just say?
Oh, her suggestion was just using pressure points to kind of relieve anxiety and
Oh,
nausea.
yeah. No, with that, I am actually going to look back at Zura and just do the finger over the lips for let's not talk too much right now. And I'm going to go from like hands on cheek, and I'm actually going to pick up Zach's hands and just, as Zura said, just start rubbing that pressure point, just maintaining eye contact, maintaining breathing, just trying to communicate and provide comfort and familiarity and stability without saying anything or making much noise.
I want to toot my own horn, but Zura is an excellent matchmaker. I got you two to hold hands.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Step one.
And I think with that, what I will say is, since Hev is staring into Zach's eyes, I think you recognize the moment where like Zach goes from pure panic and like looking at you almost desperately to when he's just staring back into your eyes steadily. And then kind of looks down and realizes that you're holding his hands, and then looks back up at you.
You back with us?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem.
As they're dealing with that, Liam is going to whisper loud enough for Kennedy to hear, moving up, and he's going to slowly start, like, I don't know the term, but when you're kind of almost half kneeling and moving forward,
That like
towards
crouched
the
movement, right?
yeah, towards the down target. How far is it from our position?
Well, since you've run off the beach, I'd say you're probably only about 30 feet.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
like
moving
20
up
or 30 feet.
15 feet to get a better look.
Sure.
Gun raised at ready.
And as you say this again, moving out. And you step closer, and as you do, there are little bits of foliage that snap beneath your boots, each one creating the same echo effect. As you draw closer, you see from where you are the slumped over mass of flesh. It is much like you caught glimpses of sinew and muscle and tissue, skin, but no bones, no joints, no cartilage, no teeth, no discernible features. And it is now no longer in any sort of humanoid form. It is like a large tumor-esque lump oozing black from what you have to imagine is the bullet wound.
Have to imagine is what?
The bullet wound.
Oh, yes. Liam's just going to keep his eyes on that, making sure it's not moving anymore, and just stay in that position and keeping his eyes as far down as he can, trying to scan the ground line, making sure there's no other movement.
Sure. I'm not going to ask you to roll. As far as you see, there is no other movement that seems to be going on in your immediate area. Everything is still, except for the mass of flesh pouring out black ichor and your companions behind you.
Okay. Liam is going to wait for everyone to be prepared to move.
Okay. So whilst we've stopped, I will motion to the three of our group who were caught to kind of roll up their trouser legs, or just so I can inspect where they were, attached to these root things. I just want to make sure that there's not any sign of infection or anything along those lines. So I'll get out my trusty alcohol and disinfectant, and I just want to make sure that there's no, lasting damage or issues that might come back later on.
Sure. So I am going to have you roll me an int first aid.
Oh yes, now we're talking.
You don't have
Okay,
a lot of
now we're talking.
Well,
a D6, a D8.
Yeah, two. Sorry.
while your medical kit is out, is there earplugs in there?
There is actually, yes.
Yeah, I figured there would be. I'm gonna steal earplugs for everyone.
Carry on.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So that is 12, 13, 14, 15.2.
15.2, that's pretty good.
That's my specialized skill.
So, who do you start with?
So I'm with Dr. Zachary.
Zachary. Do you react at all as Jackson comes up to give you this once over?
No, he is our medic, so if he thinks this needs to happen, I assume there's a reason.
Jackson, you sort of look at the points around Dr. Ryan's leg, and you notice that there are a few puncture wounds. However, there is nothing that leads you to believe that they might be infected or otherwise agitated. They are obviously red from irritation, but at the same time, you've never experienced this before. But immediately, there doesn't seem to be anything that needs to be done or dealt with or to be concerned.
Awesome.
Who's the next person that you would like to check? And I'll allow you to keep the roll for everyone.
Yeah, I will.
For the sake
check
of avoiding tedium.
Zura next.
So you get down and you start inspecting Zura's leg.
In a very professional manner, I'd like to point out. And he's a doctor. It's
Clearly just for medical purposes.
absolutely.
Means absolutely nothing.
And at first, everything seems the same. You notice the same puncture wounds. However, for one of them, you see where the rest of them look as you would expect from any sort of sharp attacked place on a person. That was the worst way I could have worded that. But one of them seems swollen.
Mm-hmm.
And just around the edges of it, it's wet. Listens with some sort of blackness.
Okay. I'm gonna I will quietly whisper in her ear. Okay, it's nothing to be worried about, but I'm gonna have to do a little bit of field medical surgery here. Okay, I'm gonna give you something to bite down on. Okay, you're just gonna have to trust me on this.
No.
Shh.
Medical surgery here. Are you kidding me? What's wrong? Oh my god, is that gangrene?
Green.
No.
Green.
Okay, it's all gonna be fine. You just trust me. Okay, just you know, I got this. Okay, this is what I do for a living.
Living.
And I'll get a fresh scalpel, and I will attempt to excavate the wound.
Zura is shaking like a leaf,
I
just
was
so you know.
I was going to say, I feel like Zach would offer Zura his hand and just like sign to her, it's going to be okay.
Vigorous signing back, like it's not going to be okay. He's about to cut me open on the middle of this weird ass beach.
No, he's a medical professional. It's fine.
I've done this kind of thing all the time.
Yeah, I'll let you do it. However, Lion, as I'm like death gripping the earplugs and whatever else in my hands, do I still have the ticket with me?
Yes, you do.
Interesting.
It's a bit crumpled now.
Yeah, that's because I'm like this.
Okay. Hold still.
So, to clarify, when you say excavate, are you attempting to sort of drain it, or are you taking out this piece of like meat? Or
I'm gonna try and cut it out.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Ooh. All right. Here's what I think is going to happen.
Please don't scream in these trees. Please don't fucking scream in these trees. We're all gonna go deaf.
Can I get drugs first, please? Like something for the pain.
Do you know what? I might actually. No, you're actually. I think I do have.
Give her some morphine. We're in World War II now.
I do have. It just says pain pills. So
yeah,
I'll grab a couple of those and hand them to Zura.
They're like ibuprofen. You needed to have taken them 4 hours before you got hurt.
All right.
It's actually
Zura,
children's.
Have you ever gone
children's
traveling? You're about to go on a trip.
Oh my goodness.
Zura, I would like you to roll me an endurance health.
I'm gonna be great at this.
Captain Kennedy, I am going to ask you to roll me another first aid.
Wait a minute. Give me a sec. Zura, don't roll yet.
Oh.
Okay. I weirdly have endurance.
Well, that's good.
What you want?
Oh, the eye once again helping out, offering you some.
Oh,
advantage.
thank you, the eye. Okay, all right. So, that's not going to help as much as you think it is, but I'm going to roll now.
Listen, I do what I can. Okay.
Uh-oh.
I wish I could show you all my screen. I rolled snake eyes.
Well,
no.
Okay.
Love it.
That is the advantage. Was another one.
That's the first critical fail we've had all game.
So am I in the negatives for this roll now? Because my endurance is 1.1. I've rolled -2. Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna top you out at 0. We're gonna do that. Ooh. Okay.
I pass out before the blade even hits me. Good God.
18.2 is my medical score.
It's a far better roll.
Significantly so, yes. Okay. So you you sort of crouch down and begin your work, and almost as soon as the blade begins to push its way into your leg, Zura, you lose it. There is this deep scream that sort of wells up inside of you as the searing, hot, burning pain of this blade entering your flesh forces it out of your lung. It echoes, growing louder and louder and louder and louder until it is this cacophony, a symphony of your own misery, haunting you as the searing pain continues. Each cut, each bit of pressure eliciting more of these screams of horror and fear and pain until
No.
go ahead.
I'm just saying, MacCern, you have a butt of a rifle. You can end this.
Well, as long as it is something you are comfortable with, I think very rapidly Zura is going to pass out.
Yeah, that's fine too. If someone doesn't like knock me out or I pass out, yeah, I imagine it working that way.
And Dr. Ryan, you are holding Zura's hand, and you can see as her eyes just sort of glaze, and then she collapses. I'm going to say that you and Agent Hart are close enough to be able to catch her before it becomes an issue for Captain Kennedy. But there is bloodstains sort of spattering the ground around the group of you, and you are not having any resistance or issue, and it takes a couple of minutes, but you do manage to excise this sizable hunk of flesh. And as you do, you see that you've cut deep enough that it hasn't penetrated fully through this piece, and have removed whatever pocket of black ooze that this is. But as you remove it, I assume with a pair of I forget what they're called. I keep wanting to say calipers, but I know that's the wrong term. Forceps. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yep.
As you grab them and sort of pull it free with your forceps, it does just ooze this ichor, almost like pus, onto the ground. And as it does, you notice that it seems to just sort of sit there atop it, spreading almost like water atop something that has been coated in like water resistant film, and just sort of beads begin to form and skirt along the surface. And I think this is where we're going to take our break. I can't think of a better opportunity. I hope everyone's been enjoying this. I know I have. So we're going to take about 15 minutes. I suggest you do the same out there in Twitch land. Go get some water, take a walk, do what you can to scrub the horrifying things that have just happened from your brains. We cannot. And we'll be back with more A Crumbling Foundation very, very soon. All right, we're back. Took a little bit of a break to stretch out, walk around, get away from the computer, get some water, do our stuff. But we're back, and hopefully you are too. How was your break? Hopefully it was good. Feel free to let us know over in the chat. When we last left off, we had transformed the beautiful wooded area that surrounds our field team into a symphony of agony and despair that continued to rise louder and louder, screams overlaid on each other until finally unable to stand the miserable pain, Zura blacked out. However, Jackson did manage to remove what seems to be the only infected bit from the wonderful Dr. Von Brandt. And with that, we return. As we do, we look towards Dr. Ryan. What is it that you are getting up to, Dr. Ryan?
So Dr. Ryan has been holding up Zura with Hev's support, of course. And I don't know if Jackson so much notices this. I think Hev does. And I think it stands out for a few reasons. One main one being that since we've seen how the island responds to sound, Zach has very much stopped talking and has either like gone to full on, ASL or just kind of gesturing if he's trying to get anyone's attention. And I think Hev notices Zach looking down at the ground beneath Zura's leg, where there is both like the ichor, but also, I'm sure, blood. And he's just staring at it for a long moment and says, "My God, there's so much blood." And then kind of blinks and snaps back to himself and is quiet again and doesn't say anything else.
Blood, 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 blood.
Up now we're in Corn's forest. Jesus.
What would the rest of you like to do?
So I guess I'll finish off attending to Zora's leg. So disinfect it, bandage it, check her temperature to make sure that she hasn't got a infection.
Mhm.
And then I will, if all that's okay, I will turn to Hart and motion him to show me his legs.
Yeah, it's hard not to with my 80s hot
Yeah,
pants
I
on.
was gonna say, yes.
And I assume you are perhaps twice as careful here now. But inspecting over Agent Hart, you do not see any of the same markers. Seems to be very basic puncture wound, or
Excellent.
as I so eloquently put it before, sharp attack to places on a person.
Okay.
Whew.
I will disinfect all my equipment just to make sure. And I will. Is Zora awake now? Has she come round?
No, not yet.
Okay. Wait, she
I
comes
will.
round.
I will point out that you definitely do have some like smelling salts in your first aid.
Yes, the wakeful torture salts.
If you so choose to use.
No, she'll probably come round on her own shortly. I think I don't want to subject her to that after having, a field operation.
There. Yeah. Those of you who are holding Zura will notice that as she passes out and her hands go sort of limp, the rest of her couple of sets of earplugs fall to the ground along with a crumpled up piece of reasonably thick paper.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for that.
Sure. Yeah. Easy enough to scoop it all up. Inspecting it, you see what looks like an old timey admit 1 movie theater ticket.
Okay, clearly out of time and place. Any details on it?
That's
What's
all it
showing?
says.
What seat?
No, that's all it says. Admit 1 in that big,
Okay.
very classic block text.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna just take this handful of stuff I picked up, and if Zura has like a pocket or something, I'm just gonna give it back to her.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's noted, but it's hers.
Lieutenant MacCern, what are you getting up to?
I'm still just scanning the area, keeping as a watch while people are getting themselves ready to move. That's basically all Liam can do right now, unless Kennedy needs some assistance with anything, or if one of the others ask him to do something. But right now, his eyes are still scanning back and forth near the target that he just shot, making sure it doesn't get back up, because that's always a possibility in the world we live in. Gun is at the ready on his shoulder, just scanning.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because
Yeah,
after a
cool, yeah.
moment, as
Mhm.
these screams do begin to subside, you see this mound of flesh begin to twitch, spasming like one large muscle.
Liam's scope is back on it immediately.
Sure. That's all you're doing, is just training on it?
I mean, it could be death throwing for all I know,
Sure.
and I don't want to shoot again in the trees because that's going to make people deaf.
Yep.
Unless I absolutely have to.
You begin to hear a gurgling sound emanating from it, which the group of you hear as well, as it echoes through the trees, just this wet gurgle. And you see bits, just thin strands of sinew beginning to sort of push their way out from the mass of flesh, and behind them, thicker bits of muscle beginning to knit themselves together into what seems like a tendril.
Okay. Still looking, still watching. This is also good for maybe the sciencey folks to report back to, instead of just shooting it again. So I'm still waiting for it to either get up or something coming out of this thing.
And as you wait, you see more of this muscle knit together and the flesh overlap, and it begins to take on some minor definition. You can see curves in it, and it begins to split at its base, flattening, and then long, thin fingers begin to knit together, devoid of the wrinkles that one would expect to see on most people, devoid of nails or anything else. But other than that, it does seem like a hand connected to an arm, and it reaches into the mass of flesh and begins to pull from it. And as it does, strands tear away, mostly, although all still connected at least somewhat, to this large flesh blob. And these tendrils begin to knit together as well into a second arm, at which point it begins clawing at the top of itself. That wet sound of meat being torn as it pulls open a large hole in its center. You see bits of what look like almost skin, but pinkish, bubble to the surface, wet and sort of coalescing like wax, drying into the basic shape of a torso. Again, with no definition, no muscle, anything to that effect. And it begins to knit upward into a chest, and then a neck, and slowly a featureless head, with the sole exception being a slit for a mouth. No
Oh,
eyes, no
I've met somebody
nose.
like this. Okay. So,
No,
Liam will like wave behind him, like behind his back, to get Kennedy's attention and sign that there's movement and possible conflict approaching. But Liam is going to not fire yet and attempt to get the attention of Hart to become a sacrifice, to reach out and talk to this individual.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm mostly focused on my nerds right now. Got to make sure they're safe and calm. One of them's passed out and the other one's freaking out, so not doing a great job, but we're here and we're managing. I assume Zura is still passed out.
for the time being.
Yeah.
I'll mention to Hart that I've got them, and
Yeah, I'm gonna help put more of the weight on Zach and Kennedy, and just give Zach a solid look in the eye. Not a
And
little
Zach
bit.
nods. I mean, he does seem as calm as he's seemed since we got to the island. Like, he isn't actively panicking in this moment. He looks worried, but he doesn't look like he's hyperventilating anymore.
All right. Slight nod, and I will push myself and my immaculate legs up to a standing position and make my way over to my new friend, the flesh monster.
Sure. As you approach, it seems to freeze for a moment, and then its head twitches and it lurches its body forward, the upper part of itself that exists. As torso down, it is still part of this giant flesh blob. And then you hear a gagging sound, and it spews just what must be like a gallon of this black ichor out onto the floor ahead of you, onto the ground. And much like what Jackson saw before, it all sort of, I think the term is hydroplanes, it all just sort of skips along the surface, doesn't seem to be absorbed or even really be accepted in any way by what it is laying atop. And then it heaves again and lurches back up, and its pink hand comes up and wipes at the what looks like sort of a child's interpretation of a mouth, and flicks its hand a few times to get the last bits of the ichor off. And though it has no eyes, you and Lieutenant MacCern feel it turn its attention to the two of you, and it begins to move forward like someone would if they were wading through a swamp or other slightly thicker or more viscous liquid. And as it gets to the end of this large lump of flesh, you see it begin to knit together and rip apart to form legs. And so standing before you now, only a couple of feet, is this humanoid figure devoid of hair, nails, eyes, ears, nose. But all of the basic features are there. It does not, however, have any markings that would denote if it is in fact biologically male or female. And it just stands there with its head tilted just a bit, watching the two of you, as much as something without eyes can watch anyone.
I'm going to speak softly to try to mitigate some of the cacophony about, and we're relatively close. It's all right now. Take your time. I assume this isn't a natural form for you. I'm going to try to make sure this mean man doesn't shoot you anymore, as long as we all stay cool, all right?
Ooh. Why don't you roll me a charisma? I assume you are telling the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, just checking in, making sure. then we're going to make that a charisma. What is the term in this one? I've been through so many games. So sorry.
There's negotiation, persuade.
Let's
There's
do
leadership.
let's do persuade. That's the one I was looking for.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Negotiation,
4
persuade.
dice. That is 2d10, 2d8, because this is my jam. I cannot add exertion to charisma rolls, so I will just I'll just do this. Well, that is. Oh, okay. All right. Both ends of the spectrum here. I have an exploding D10 and an exploding D8, and my other D10 and other D8 are both ones. But I think that'll probably cancel out well enough. So I get another D10 and a D12 now. Okay, that is a 24.1.
For a moment, it stands there and then begins to move its mouth as if speaking. Nothing seems to come out, and then after a moment, in the same tone and volume that you had spoken, it goes, Erifadalisana. I know this tongue. I remember it. Yeah, I have found it. Welcome. And then it points towards MacCern. This one will not shoot me again.
I'll look over to Liam. Well, I
Who still
think
has
as
the
long
gun
as we
completely
have.
trained on this figure.
Sorry, what's that?
I said Liam still has the gun fully trained on this figure.
Mm-hmm.
He's not talking. He's
I think Hev is going to take like a half step forward and not like stand in front of the gun, but just kind of interpose a little bit. And just look back at Liam and then back towards this creature. As long as you pose us no harm. We should all be fine.
And you can tell that it is sort of sitting with that and processing it. And then you hear again that squelching and the like ripping sounds of flesh. And where one would expect the eyes to be on humanoid figure, these sockets begin to like turn and spread open, though they are noticeably empty. And beyond them is only dark. And it goes. Then have you brought offering?
Offerings. Well,
there is a very audible snort from the mask of MacCern.
This is humor. I've seen that. I have not said anything humorous. Have I said something humorous?
Well, I think we simply need to get to know each other a little better. Is it customary to come bearing gifts? I must say, we know very little about who you are, or in fact, really too much of where we find ourselves.
What a time to have made that mistake. All right. And who are you?
Well, that was my very next question as well, but in good faith. Hello. I am Hevard Hart. I will leave my companions to introduce themselves if they would like. But as for right now, I mean you no harm. Who am I speaking with?
Hevard Hart. What a name. I like it. Perhaps it is mine now. Yeah.
Well, they do say imitation is the most sincere form of flattery.
You mean to imitate me, Hevard Hart?
Oh, now that is interesting. Where do we stand on cause and effect here? Let's just assume that we're let's just assume that we are equal and original.
Equal. Yeah. What a thought. You are so young.
I suppose I am. Good skincare routine. Not as young as you think.
This pattern of speech is interesting. I wonder. And then it leans its head past you, Hev, and towards Lieutenant MacCern. And please, tell Hevard Hart, who are you? Not sure if you are muted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Liam's masked face, as the gun lowers slightly, as this thing comes closer to him, his mask actually almost seems to push forward, in defiance, it seems, and but does not really respond, vocally anyway, but stands up, and takes a step back.
Are you afraid, Mask Man?
There's just the slightest of head cock, but still there's no response.
And I think at that point, we shift back over to Captain Kennedy, Dr. Ryan, and a slowly waking Dr. Von Brandt. What are the group of you getting up?
I think Zach does, like, when he notices that Zura's stirring, he is going to very gently put his hand over her mouth because he doesn't know if she is going to jerk awake screaming. And
Yep.
so, like, he's doing it in a very comforting way as much as he can. But his goal is to not have screams ringing out through the forest once again.
Yeah, she starts coming through and then sees you and then feels the hand over her mouth and just like this kind of what? And then starts signing like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and he just motions like quiet.
Okay.
And assuming you indicate that, he lowers his hand so that he can sign and asks, "How are you feeling?"
How good were those pain meds, Lion?
Ah,
I would say they're probably pretty good. They definitely won't leave you painless, but they take the edge off for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Yeah, then I'd sign back to Zachary. Just like, I'm okay, little pain, but it's not too bad. Did I pass out?
And Zach will just nod in response to that.
Do we see the from our station? Do we see this? Okay.
Yeah.
Just who is that?
And I mean, I think with that, it of course takes a while to spell it out because there, as far as I know off the top of my head, there probably isn't a sign for Hevard Hart, but that's what Zach signs. That is Hevard Hart.
wow.
And there's this look of extreme confusion.
And Zach just nods like, "Yep, I know." And then I think he is going to sign. It seems to like to take names. Don't know if this is an isolated incident or a
I
pattern.
immediately, without hesitation, sign back. Did it offer its name or their name? Interesting. Maybe we should stop sharing our names.
And Zach nods and just signs back, or at least our full names. And then pauses and then signs, or maybe our names in general.
Agreed.
Oh, you don't want to give your names to the big flesh monster, but the boat, that's fine. That's a different story altogether, isn't it? Quite happy to give him.
True.
And Zach just signs to Jackson. It was just our first name. Well, at least it was just my first name.
Jackson even understands sign or ASL.
So Zach's trying.
Yeah.
I will help Zura up onto her feet just to kind of test to make sure she can put weight on her leg and she doesn't require any other attention.
I resist the urge to vocalize "thank you" so that it doesn't echo, but yeah, I test out my feet.
Yeah, it hurts. It's pretty bad on the scale, but it's not going to prevent you from being able to move.
That's good.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
I kind of limp around a bit.
As you rise, you all will notice that Hevard Hart looks past Liam and at the three of you. And while the three of you can't hear what he says next, the agent formerly known as Hevard Hart and Lieutenant MacCern will both hear, "You have brought friends or sacrifices."
Oh boy.
No.
Art, you better
No
settle this one
sacrifices.
down.
See, that's a word that my friend here is very afraid of. Fear leads to mistakes. So let's avoid devaluing life as much as we can.
The sockets go wide, and you notice that above them begin to protrude little bits of flesh that knit together to sort of mimic eyebrows, which then also rise. And they go, "Devalue your life. Are you lost?"
Am I what?
Lost.
Lost. Am I lost? I believe I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
And somehow not where you know you are.
It's hard to ever really know exactly where you are.
It moves towards you, beginning to close the distance. If there's anything that anyone would like to do as it does so, you are welcome to. But otherwise, it is going to close the distance, so it is standing right in front of you.
I'm guessing that was directed towards me.
Pretty much. I mean, yes.
Liam is going to take a step back so he can still get a good shot, but he's not going to shoot as of yet.
The figure reaches you, and it raises its arm up and goes to place its hand against your cheek. And
Hart.
Oh, no.
Who wait, was that on Hart or Liam?
Hevard Hart places their hand on the agent formerly known as
Right.
Hevard Hart's cheek.
Gotcha.
And it tilts their head slightly and shakes it a bit. It is sad. You should have been one of mine. You stink of him. And then they just walk past you towards the nerds and Captain Kennedy.
I'm gonna
Liam
try to
is going
take a step back and into its path.
Yeah, yeah.
So do you both do that?
Yeah, pretty much.
And it stops, eyebrows rising again. What is this?
We were having such a nice conversation. It's rude to simply walk away. It seems we have a mutual acquaintance, and I would very much like to know more about you and them and me. I'm sure we have plenty to share amongst ourselves.
You come with no offering. You exist in a way that is blaspheme. You fire upon me, my point of weakness.
Well,
You
that's
call-
information that Liam really likes to hear.
You call us equal. And somehow feel as though you are entitled to a conversation. Well,
Entitled? No. But for somebody who has so flatteringly adopted my name, it would be nice to get to know each other more. There's a lot that can be learned about Hevard Hart.
For you to learn about Hevard Hart, you would leave a sprawled, sobbing mess. I offer you peace here, not because I must, but because I see your suffering, even where you may not. And you are such a unfortunate end result. Arrogant, confident, charming. I would have been so happy to have you. Proud, maybe, even. But
Well,
now,
I'm sure there's enough of me to go around.
you are ruined.
There's a finality to that.
Yeah.
Finality is a barrier one simply does not know how to move past from. I don't believe in such a thing. Do you?
Finality. Do you know, much like many other words, languages always include a word for finality. It is perhaps a barrier for those who are incapable of comprehending what true finality is. But finality is an end you cannot reach or move beyond. It is a maddening concept that better beings than you and your ilk have desperately tried to understand and surpass, and every time they fall. It is strange. I do not remember putting this in you, but it remains nonetheless. The impact of things well beyond my ability to control. If you would like, you can die here. But I do not want that.
Well, that makes two of us.
Then step to this side, so I may meet your friend.
Well, then let me introduce them.
Zach is like
Don't you
desperately
dare.
gesturing like no.
Don't you dare.
Zura is also immediately like, no, please don't mention my name.
If so does Hart turn to start moving towards them?
Hart does not, no.
The one known as Hart.
I will kind of spin sideways, so I'm not taking my eyes off of other Hev. And take like a half step forward, but still in its path, and gesture broadly in front of myself. These are the nerds.
Liam is still very much transposed between this thing and the rest of the group.
Mm-hmm.
It looks between the three of you and then puts its head down as though in thought. Looks back up and goes, "You share a name."
They share a lot of similarities.
Good.
One being that they're not a talkative bunch. That usually falls to me.
Interesting. Well, that is all right. I would hate to make nerds uncomfortable. You have not come with sacrifices. You have not come with knowledge of where you are. So tell me, why have you come here?
Why have we come here? It's been a bit. We're looking for people, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, please.
The people that were, it was not disclosed what these people were, but it was like heavily implied that they were not regular human beings.
Mhm.
They lived here and they worshipped something and they all went missing.
Mhm.
So, and it had a lot of similarities between the lion-headed gentleman and that weird collective consciousness thing.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we are here because we've noticed a number of similarities in reports about this place and the people here that match something that we are interested in. Something that I believe you've picked up on.
Ah, you are the Foundation. No?
Perhaps collectively, sure.
Well, yes, of course. No one of you could be the Foundation.
I'm not sure any one of us really are trying too hard to be.
Good. It is always embarrassing to watch people attempt fruitless endeavors. But I welcome you, and with an understanding of now who you are, most of you, I permit you the safest entry that I can. Here, under my protection, Hevard. I will, however, need to know how to refer to your agitated gunmen. Unless you only wish to be called. And then he opens his mouth, and you hear, although significantly quieter, what sounds like the mimicry of the gunshot from the sniper rifle. And it doesn't echo.
Liam is just eyeing this thing very. There's been a couple of points where Hevard would have heard a slight growl coming from the mask, especially at like the term sacrifice. And as also during the point where it seems like this thing might be a rival to the lion, there was a slight tap against the trigger, but did not go off. It was more of a slight itch. And Liam will just say, "You may call me Horns." Which Kennedy probably exclusively would know is his call sign when he was a field agent in the GOC.
Mhm.
He looks down for a moment, and you see twitches in the muscles that make up the eye sockets, and slowly little strands of flesh begin to push out from them and knit together to create what looks like the same pink, fleshy, toned color of the rest of him, but it looks like eyes, eyeballs, and they sort of shift back and forth a bit as though thinking or processing, and then they look back up and he goes, "Horns, then. You are not Foundation. I did not think so, but it is good to know."
No response.
Are you going to stay long? Foundation. The last ones did well, some of them. Others were here a very short amount of
I couldn't say. We'll have to find out.
time. You don't have to leave. Not all of them do. But all of those who leave our foundation. Those who stay are not.
An interesting classification.
A simple one, if you understand.
Hey, Lion.
Yes.
Could I do either a religion or a cult roll?
Ooh. You could try rolling me a... Either one would work. Just let me know which one you'd like to use because they will offer different information.
Okay.
I will. Can I also roll an occult lore roll?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
That's one of Liam's specialties as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can I get in on that, or that too many people doing the same action?
I think I'm going to limit it to the two of them.
Gotcha.
I think also just because of their backgrounds, it makes sense to permit them, but I don't know that the rest of you would necessarily have that same opportunity.
23, and I'm going to go with religion.
Ooh.
Mine is a 16.5.
Okay. And you said what was yours, JD?
23.
Okay, yours was religion. Lieutenant MacCern, yours was an occult.
Yes.
Okay. Lieutenant MacCern, let's do you first. There's nothing that you've gone over that stands out to you as being relevant here yet. You know that just based on the way that this interaction is going, this thing is somehow clearly aware of and related to the lion, the regal lionman, I think is the name that ended up going in the report. It fits a lot of the checkboxes that you have seen that you use to sort of distinguish one group from another in your previous work. But specifically who or what this is, you really don't know.
Okay.
Dr. Ryan. The way it seems to speak of you, of your group, the way it acts, even the way it seemed to create itself, there's no particular being that stands out, but this does seem to be some kind of maybe fertility or life representing being. The pantheon escapes you. There's just not enough that you would have encountered here to put that together, but you're comfortable making the statement that either this and that lion are from the same pantheon or worse, opposing pantheons. But beyond that, you don't really know.
I will file that away.
Actually, I will also give you based on that roll. I'm also going to tell you that the way you notice and can reconcile in your mind the way that this thing refers to certain things that set them apart from everything else. And it seems to use a similar method of presentation for itself, the unnamed but hinted at lion being and the foundation. No, I cannot help you if you do not show me what you need assistance with. And if you do not know if you plan to stay, I cannot provide you with accommodation. Let no one say Hevard Hart is a bad host.
No one ever does.
Good. Rest assured, I will continue that.
Well, it's good to know the mimicry extends to my mannerisms.
Were you not already dead, perhaps I would take offense. But it is difficult to be mad at those who are pitied.
Well, those who are pitied. Everyone's pitied by someone. You are. You are, however, assuming my personage, you are pitying me, you are pitying yourself, even more so. I mean no offense, and I take none from your flattery, but without a name of your own, without a shape or a form or a meaning, how do you present yourself as something unique, something worth understanding, or even the attempt at understanding? Don't hide yourself away through mimicry.
Zach
Proud of
looks
who you
horrified at this.
I am. It's a pride that comes with that name. And if you don't share it, you don't deserve it.
I would like you to roll me a negotiate persuade. This might be one of the most important rolls we've ever made.
Love it. Love it.
So excited.
Why doesn't exertion work on charisma? Okay. That is these and these. In fact, I'm going to use this one. Okay. Is it a persuade again?
Correct. And you do have some
Alright.
reverence, if I remember correct.
I do have some reverence, and it's not a terrible roll, but it's not a great one either. So I'm gonna blow 2 of my reverence and re-roll that.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna trade you out. You're not working for me. I'll take this one. Well, that's even worse. Cool. Awesome. The dice know the story they want to tell. This is a 14.1. That's all I got.
Would you like to be Hevard Hart again?
I am always Hevard Hart. I have always been, and I will always be. Others have tried to imitate.
After a moment, his eyes go wide. and they reach out for you and stumble. And as they fall, they scream. A shriek of horror and agony, and you can see the flesh bubble on them. And they begin to scream, please, no, please. And in front of you, they melt into a steaming, bubbling mass of liquid meat. And they begin to soak back into the earth. And I believe that's where we're going to end tonight's episode of A Crumbling Foundation. Thank you so much to all of you amazing people who have been hanging out in the chat and joined us for this. Thank you to my incredible cast. An extra special shout out to Jack for being just the absolute best Hevard Hart you could possibly. Take a point of reverence, by the way. So
Why, thank you. Thank you for rewarding my terrible decisions.
I'm going to pass things around and let everyone remind you who they are, where you can find them, all that cool stuff. And we're going to go backwards this time. So we're going to start this way, right? Yes, with Zoe.
Hello, everyone. I'm Zoe, or Zoe Trooper. You can find me here on Tales from the Table Studios doing Crumbling Foundation, an STP story. You can also find me on Hollowed Haven Studios and in the future on Component Cast. Check all of those cool people out, especially these cool people. Like, keep checking Lion out. Oh, wait, hold on. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Other way. It's fine.
We're trying.
All right. The Eye.
I am the Eye. I am very excited about what's going on because it directly feeds into Liam's backstory. We'll see if he is ever informed of what's going on, because that's gonna be a taste. I am the Eye. I am only found here in the summoning circle that the lion keeps up in his bedroom to appear when needed. And I am only found here. So come by for this show and also DTA, where I play the ever flailing as of late Kunskap Soaker.
Tal.
Hi, I'm Tal Woodblaze, and tonight I was playing Jackson Kennedy. You can check out all of my work over on my Ko-fi, which is Tal Woodblaze, and also my YouTube, where I play games badly, which is The Gamer's Rest.
Jack.
Yes. Hello, I am Jack. I have been, will continue to be, and always will be the charming Hevard Hart.
If you're lucky.
Imitation is the best form of flattery, but don't fly too close to the heart because you will melt. But yes, you can find me continuing to make wonderful decisions over on my own channel, though I'm usually the one running the game and trying to get other people to make wonderful decisions. You can find me over on my own channel, twitch.tv/RPGs Uncovered, and the associated YouTube and Twitter and Discord and all that. You can find me all over the place as RPGs Uncovered. I run a series dedicated to showing just how quick and easy it can be to learn a new TTRPG. We're running season 4 of RPGs Uncovered right now, featuring Cyber Rats and the demo play mini-series Corpo Rat Shills, which is super fun. It is a Lumen-based game. It's a bit combat heavy, but we throw a lot of really wholesome, really nuanced characters in there, and it's a great show. So stop by on Saturdays at 4:30 p.m. EST for some of that, and catch the previous episodes and previous seasons on YouTube. This Wednesday, I have another Whip Workshop creator interview coming up with Vault RPG. That looks like a fantastic sci-fantasy cyberpunk setting that I'm really, really excited to talk more about. It's currently in a Kickstarter campaign. Kickstartering? I'm not sure that's the right word. But more on that Wednesday. Go support them. It looks like a great project, and we're going to have even more Whip Workshop interviews in the Wednesdays ahead. and plenty of other things I can't announce just yet. So come hang out on Discord and Twitter and all that. And let me throw it up to the amazing JD.
Thank you, Jack. So yes, I am JD. Tonight I have been Dr. Zachary Ryan, who, as always, is in way, way, way over his head, but it's fine. Speaking of bad life choices, you can see me in Cyber Rats making really bad life decisions every single week that I can, because that's just something I enjoy doing. So I will be there this coming Saturday, 4:30. And you can also find me between now and then with Live from the Apocalypse tomorrow night for Class Reunion, our D&D homebrew game about a group of 4 high school students who have been lost in a fantasy world for the past 10 years. And then you can find me back with Live from the Apocalypse on Sunday night for Academy H, our Masks actual play podcasts live recording. Good time, lots of drama, horrible things happening. Yeah, and I think that is it for now. And of course, I'll be back here next week
Excuse me.
for whatever horrors await.
I'm Lion. I am the creative director and head for Tales from the Table Studios and have been your overseer for tonight, doing my best to create horror and misery for our fantastic group of field agents. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here tonight, that's great. I'm really happy to hear that. There are a couple ways you can support us so we can continue to do this and continue to grow. You can always hit that subscribe button. It's a nice way to let us know that you like what we're doing and want to see more of it. Alternatively, we also have a Ko-Fi. You can go check that out. We've got a bunch of cool membership tiers with a lot of options, including one that provides access to monthly behind the scenes shows that we do for all of our streaming series, where you'll get to hear a little bit more about the thought processes that our players are going through, why they've done the things they've done, how they feel about what's been going on, what they're looking forward to, what they're dreading, and how Hev can possibly have so much chutzpah inside of him, and I love it. I love it. I love it. So check that out. We also have a bunch of free stuff on there. We've got some apps, we've got some other stuff. There's a Kids on Bikes module and some other cool stuff to pick up. There and our Discord are the 2 places where you are best suited to get all of our announcements as they come. So if you don't want to go check out our Ko-Fi, join our Discord. The link is below in the About section, where you'll be able to keep up to date on all of our updates, information about upcoming events, and be able to talk to some amazing people, including all of the fantastic people who have been a part of this show tonight and every week, which I am so lucky. Lastly, before we disappear and go raid Girls Run These Worlds, I just want to remind everyone that Days of Tales 2 is coming up. March 24th through the 26th, we're going to be running 36 hours, full weekend of actual plays, panels, giveaways, and more, all to raise money in support of NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. So if you're interested in checking that out, we will be on doing that. And if you'd like to be a part of it, the easiest way to do that is to check out the chat now, because there is a link in there where you can sign up on the casting sheet. We're looking for GMs, we're looking for DMs, we're looking for players, we're looking for people who are interested in getting involved in other ways. If you want to be a part of it, please let us know. We'll get back to you. Those are going to be open for the next 2 weeks. Then we're going to be closing it and sorting out our tables. I think I've gone over everything I have to go over. So we're going to take our leave, disappear for a moment, but don't go anywhere, because we're going to be raiding Girls Run These Worlds. Remember to take care of yourself. Love yourself. We love you. And always remember to tell you. Have a great night.